Hello and welcome. This is Amber Sonsalla, Carlene Frusteri, and I'm Amber Wright. And today we're going over what it means to be a member in a PMA.
What even is a PMA? Basically, all a PMA is a private membership association. And what this does is it provides the governance and structure for us to be able to associate with each other in the private domain. And this is confirmed and repeated and protected by private contracts and is one of our fundamental rights.
Fundamental rights. Laws are supposed to achieve their purpose without restricting our fundamental rights of freedom of speech and association, voting, and freedom from arbitrary physical restraint, and decisions about marriage, family relationships, child rearing, and education.
Furthermore, our rights to religion, not having the government impose on our personal affairs, and our rights as guaranteed from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
The right to education is reflected in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Really what it's saying is that each one of us has the right to education as well as the right to oversee the kind of education that our children receive.
State officers have the duty to support constitutional rights. Every state legislator and executive and judicial officer is solemnly committed by oath to support this Constitution.
The Supremacy Clause is a clause within Article 6 of the U.S. Constitution which dictates the Constitution which bonds the federal government. This means that judges in every state must follow the Constitution, laws, and treaties of the federal government in matters which are directly or indirectly within the government's control.
Privacy. This is probably one of the rights that most of us are the most familiar with. Privacy within a PMA means that you're agreeing to keep information and activities of other members private. This means that we're not posting and sharing pictures and videos and content or sharing any information about what's happening in the PMA publicly unless you have explicit permission to do so.
The U.S. Supreme Court has upheld in numerous cases that there exists a public domain and a private domain in the United States. The First and 14th Amendment rights of free speech and free association are fundamental and highly prized. The private domain of an association is a sanctuary, constitutional shelter, shield, and preserve according to the number of U.S. Supreme Court decisions.
As a private membership association, we provide no product or services to the public, which is what a sign on our door or entrance to our building advises members of the public who might accidentally confuse our intentions. As a private member association, our right to assemble with one another to follow our faith is clearly within the private domain.
If we continually allow the state to diminish or regulate our fundamental rights, they will diminish until our rights are gone. And so when we're combining the two of the fundamental rights, the right to associate and the right to education, directed by parents, the parents really have the right to take their children outside of the jurisdiction of state regulation. To open a private association is a fundamental right. However, that association needs to be founded in a manner that does not give jurisdiction to the state. Our private contract is based on the verbiage within our health-based intake waiver, which really means that we have the right to choose for ourselves and for our kids what we wish to do for our own health and wellness.
I see the potential in the future where we could restore the proper boundaries and authorities where the lines are clearly drawn, that anything not specifically the government or publicly owned property, sidewalks and parks, etc., is understood and respected as private the way it's supposed to be.
It isn't right, but when we know better, we can do better, and we can only do the best we can with what we have. The more of us that both move into the private domain as well as support private associations and churches, the faster we can work to make the public system obsolete and restore those liberties.
We welcome you to schedule a free consult with one of us advisors at getyourpma.com to get you started in the private domain. With that, thank you for viewing. Thank you, Amber and Carlene, for joining me today about what does it mean to be a member in a PMA.